For more on that massive infrastructure plan, we're joined by Democratic Senator Tina Smith from Minnesota. Thanks for your time, Senator.
Thank you, Juju. It's great to be with you.
Well, as Elizabeth reports, President Biden is confident that both these infrastructure plans will pass. Do you share that optimism?
I am optimistic. I think that the bipartisan bill is a strong bill. It accomplishes many of the things that we need to accomplish, but it doesn't accomplish all that we need. And that's why I'm so excited about the big budget bill that it looks like we're going to pass with Democrat-only votes. That is really a bill that puts the government to work for middle-class Americans in a way that we haven't seen in over a generation. And we have got to get both of them done together.
We've heard from the progressive wing of your party, from Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez at a virtual town hall Thursday night. She was threatening to vote down the bipartisan infrastructure package in the House unless the Senate passes the separate and much larger package using the fast-track budget process. Let's listen.
House progressives are standing up. We will tank the bipartisan infrastructure bill unless we also pass the reconciliation bill.
Do you think this is the right approach, Senator, or do you think it might backfire?
Well, I think what she is saying is what so many of us are saying, basically, which is that these two bills are inextricably linked. They must go together. That's what I think. That's what Senator Schumer thinks, and I think the vast majority of the Democrats in my caucus, if not everybody, and it's what Speaker Pelosi thinks. These two things have to go together. We have to work out the timing of them, and I believe that at the end of the day, that's what's going to happen. And the reason that's so important is, for example, in the bipartisan bill, we make important steps towards providing electric charging stations to expand access to people with electric vehicles. But in the budget bill, the reconciliation bill that we're going to pass, that's where we put in the clean electricity standard, which is our way of cleaning up the electric grid to get it to net zero carbon emissions as soon as possible. So you can see how those two things have to go together.
And I know you've been a huge advocate for the clean electricity standard. Tell us why it's such a top priority for you.
Well, the clean electricity standard is a practical and very progressive way to get us to net zero carbon emissions in the electric sector as soon as possible. It says that utilities will, through an investment-based strategy, utilities will add clean energy until we get to net zero. And the government, federal government, will be there to help them do that. And also, I hope, have penalties if they don't get there. What's so great about this is we can do it in a way that keeps utility rates stable and also fuels the kind of innovation in clean electricity and clean energy broadly that we need. You know, this transition is going to happen, and I think the only question is whether the United States leads or follows, and I want us to lead, and this is the path for making that a reality.
And yet you still have to hold your coalition, and I know that Democratic Senator Joe Manchin holds the key there, and he's said he's concerned about inflation, which we know is rising. Are you worried that spending trillions of dollars might lead to higher inflation?
Well, just a couple of days ago, I had a chance to speak with Fed Chair Jay Powell, and I won't quote him, but what I took away from our conversation is that we are seeing some short-term inflation because the economy is getting back into business after what has been one of the most catastrophic public health and economic emergencies that I think our country has ever lived through. So, of course, we always have to be concerned about inflation, but what I see is the economy adapting and adjusting to what's been this sort of seismic event. And at the end of the day, the most important thing is we put the federal government to work for middle-class Americans by addressing climate change, by expanding access to childcare, by doing what will be the largest middle-class tax cut, I think, in the history of this country. That all of that is included in the Democrats' budget plan, reconciliation plan.
Now, on the other side of the aisle, some Republican leaders are demanding a price tag or score on these plans. Is that necessary, and how confident are you that these spending packages will be fully paid?
Well, part of the way that we do things in Washington, I think rightly so, is we have to look at an impartial estimate of how much things will cost. And so that's important. I mean, I have to point out, however, that when the Republican Congress, before I was in Washington, passed a massive tax cut that mostly benefited big corporations and wealthy Americans, they didn't have to pay for that tax cut. And of course, it ended up not being much of a benefit at all to just regular Americans. So all of this stuff is going to get worked out. This is the legislative process. It's a lot of give and take, a lot of back and forth. And at the end of the day, I feel confident that we're going to be able to do something that is really going to be seen and felt by Minnesotans and by Americans.
Well, Senator Tina Smith, we thank you for your leadership and for your time tonight. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.